What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our final match of NPL Season 9 Majors. I just realized my record was wrong. What should my record have been? Should be 3 and 6 minus 11 is what I should be. So let me just fix that really quickly here before we move on. Because you guys will have already seen my match against Halu in week 10. So we're 3 and 6 minus 11 coming into this. Only had the 3 games to make up. We were playing Carnie Hobo and the Vancouver Stealth Rocks. Really cool logo. For those of you who don't know or who aren't from the Vancouver area, or even if you are from Vancouver, you might not even know what this team is based on. The Vancouver Stealth is actually a professional lacrosse team. So this is actually a really cool logo, and it speaks to me because I'm from Vancouver. So it's pretty nifty to see that sort of thing. Especially, you know, lacrosse teams, things like that, they don't really get a lot of traction in terms of team names. You know, OKC Thunderous is such a huge one. People like to choose basketball teams. They like their football teams. Occasionally you'll see the hockey team. Lots of baseball team references. But this is the first and only lacrosse team I've ever seen. Let's run through Connor's team then. He could have brought Mew, Z, Mega Venusaur, Zapdos, Mamoswine, Blissey, Jellicent, Hitmontop, Z, Alolan Dugtrio, Ditto, Z, Butterfree, Tyrantrum, and Incineroar. He had priority users in Mew with Vacuum Wave, Hitmontop with Fake Out, Sucker Punch, and Mach Punch, and Bullet Punch, Dugtrio with Sucker Punch, and Incineroar with Fake Out. Hazard setting in the Mew with Rocks, Memo with Rocks, Blissey with Rocks, Dougie with Rocks, Tyrantrum with Rocks. Removal options in the Mew with Defog, Zapdos with Defog, Hitmontop with Rapid Spin, Butterfree with Defog, and just the 4x weakness in Butterfree to Rock. I wasn't expecting the Butterfree, it showed up. It's interesting. Alolan Dugtrio is most certainly his Mega DNC answer. Probably Scarfed if I had to guess. Mamoswine is a big threat, but Cresselia deals with it really well. Incineroar is not something I was necessarily expecting. I thought that maybe Zapdos would come over the Incineroar as a Kartana check. This team is actually extremely weak to Kartana, with the set that I'm running at least. Sorry. So let's hop into the team that I'm bringing then. First up, we've got the Kartana here. I'm Choice Banded Kartana with knockoff Psycho Cut, Leaf Blade, and Tailwind. Knockoff for the Mew, Leaf Blade for most of the team, and then Psycho Cut for the Venusaur. I don't intend on staying in on the Incineroar, so I don't have anything to hit it. Tailwind if I need to get a boost off later, just a speed boost for everything. I'm outspeeding his base 100, so Mew and the Zapdos with that Kartana set. Then I'm bringing a Citrus Berry Nihilego with Acid Spray, Grass Knot, Power Gem, and Psychic. This probably would have been fine as a Assault Vest set, but I thought I wanted the Berry just so I could be okay with that. But then I realized I was running 4 moves. I probably should have just run Assault Vest. Acid Spray to lower the SpDef of Mons like Common Mew, which could be really annoying and might want to set up on my Nihilego. It's a good answer. It's a good way for me to be able to deal with a non-Earthquake Mega Venusaur as well. I'm running out of speed on here again for the base 100, so I'm outspeeding the Mew and the Zapdos. It's kind of my way to kill the Zapdos with Power Gem. I've got Grass Knot for a slower Mamoswine variant as well, and then Psychic is there for the Mega Venusaur. I'm physically defensive Mono Psyshock Cresselia, so Incineroar's got to go, but after that I should be free to just set up Calm Minds. I'm a Rest Sleep Talk variant as well, which means I can always finagle around sleep turns and potentially win a PP war against something. Florges, I'm running Moonblast, Synthesis, Calm Mind, and Heal Bell, physically defensive variant-ish. Just a mono Moonblast set. It kind of gets shut down by Mega Venusaur to an extent, but I can Calm Mind up to a point where Sludge Bomb is doing pretty much nothing. Mega DNC is a speedy variant. I'm actually speed tying Alolan Dugtrio, a little bit of a mixed attacker with Diamond Storm, Moonblast, Earth Power, and Rocks. Rocks looked good on paper against his team, especially with Zapdos. It was worthwhile getting the chip against Mons like Zapdos and Incineroar. Don't really care about the Butterfree, but breaking any sashes is fine, and I could very easily punish Hitmontop with my team. It had an absolutely trash matchup against me. And then last but not least is Sableye. This is the same Sableye set that I brought against Spextar. It's a Taunt, Calm Mind, Dark Pulse, Recover set, fully physically defensive. It kind of goes in here, especially being able to shut down some of his more prominent special threats just entirely is kind of cool. So, the way things are going to go here is I believe I'm just going to lead with my Nihilego. I think that's what I do. Yeah, and he's going to lead with the Butterfree. So, really interesting play from him, turn 1, leading off with the Butterfree here. I don't... you know, he's obviously sashed if he's leading with it too. So I just go for the acid spray, break the sash and whatnot, and then I'm going to dodge the sleep powder. So sleep powder hitting me wouldn't have been the end of the world because I have pivots into this Butterfree. It's pretty free for me to just go into Sableye on this Butterfree basically anytime anyways. So the sleep powder miss didn't matter all that much. We'll see later game that it doesn't matter that much because Nihilego is not really going to have an opportunity to get many attacks off this game. But it might have mattered a little bit earlier on. So in comes the Mamoswine on the Power Gem here. I went for Power Gem just because it was my best play against absolutely everything that was coming in, rather than clicking Acid Spray again, which may have actually killed the Butterfree because he was -2. Should have been double damage, so, or it might have been 1.5 times. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I just clicked Power Gem because it was the best move to hit everything. Figure out this Mamoswine is pretty bulky, at least max HP. So I'm going to go into my Crest on the Icicle Crash here, and we're going to see that does pretty much nothing, and I'm just going to be able to get some hits off if I wanted to, but I'm just going to double into my Sableye on the knockoff. So at that point, I was like, well, I want my leftovers on my Cresselia. I know he's obviously going to click knockoff unless he's locked in, but it didn't look like he was not locked in because that was not banded damage by any means, and Scarf doesn't really run max HP. I was like, well, Sableye's got pranks to recover, so I don't really have a reason to have leftovers on this anyways. It was just kind of a bonus, so I managed to get that off. And then the Incineroar comes in on my Calm Mind. So at this stage, I'm just going to try and scout out what the Incineroar is going to do. Banded Flare Blitz won't kill me. We do find that it is banded based on that U-turn damage. And I'm going to be able to taunt this Butterfree away from clicking Sleep Powder again and shut it down. Get a little bit of chip damage off on this Incineroar before I want to risk any kind of Flare Blitz shenanigans. He is going to choose to lock himself into Darkest Lariat, which was a much better play. It's still going to two-shot me, and he's not taking the recoil damage. I was going to try and punish him with the Sableye for clicking Flare Blitz over and over again, because this is the only thing stopping my Cresselia from just clicking Calm Mind. Just clicking Psyshock over and over again. But instead, I'm going to go to the Diancie and punish the Darkest Lariat instead. Lets me get up my rocks. It's really good chip against that. It's good way to break a Sash on the Dugtrio. And then the Butterfree is going to chew this Diamond Storm. Oh, wait, no, it doesn't. It just fucking drops. Dugtrio comes in. All right, and now this is where I'm like, all right, well, he's probably Scarf then. Because +2 defense Diancie potentially has a chance to live Iron Head from this thing, depending on his speed investment. And so, in most cases, he's going to be likely to be Scarf. And what I actually could have done was go into my Kartana here, and it's something I probably should have considered a little bit more before clicking a move here. But I end up just going to my Cresselia, which I know can wall this, and I'm going to do something. Click Psyshock on the Mamoswine, maybe? Yeah, so I'm trying to punish the Alolan Dugtrio and get some damage off. I want to put myself in a position where this Mamoswine's probably dead in most cases. And then I'm going to be able to get to rest on this knockoff turn. And him knocking off my leftovers this turn is actually kind of huge. And I'll talk about it a little bit later on. But that turn where he knocked off my leftovers is actually really big for the late game scenarios. And how he's going to play the late game scenarios. That Icicle Crash Miss obviously doesn't matter because I'm arresting it. And I'm going to be luckily able to Sleep Talk a Psyshock roll there. So we're going to punish this Incineroar a little bit more. I'm going to go into my Florges this time because it's my least useful member. And I can hopefully let this Incineroar take a ton of recoil damage. I'm going to go for the Synthesis just to make him take a little bit more recoil. I wasn't sure if Moonblast was going to kill or not from that range, so I opted to go for the Synthesis play instead. It might have been safer, and I probably could have saved some differential if I'd calced if the Moonblast was going to kill from this range, but either way, Nihilego gets to come in and click Power Gem, which is still decent damage against the Dugtrio, despite it being a 4 times resisted hit. Dugtrio is pretty weak. I'm going to go into my Cresselia. Again, I could have made another play where I went into Kartana there. You know, I'm just going to be able to rest up on this, and we're going to sort of slowly see what happens here. The Incineroar is going to end up dying to rocks, and so what he's going to try and do is force me to click Psyshock and waste one as he is going to get in the Incineroar. And this sort of part of the game here is going to get really boring because now that Incineroar is dead, my Cresselia can stay in on everything. And I'm just going to talk for a little while and we'll go through one of the iterations of what happens here as we see that he's also Calm Mind Mew. And you'll notice that because he's Calm Mind Mew, I can PP stall him out. And the only reason I can do that, actually, is because he ended up knocking off my leftovers. I'm not entirely sure what his last move is until much later, but we're going to see Calm Mind, Roost, and Psychic from this. And so once I sort of scout out the Psyshock damage against this and how pathetic it is, even at +6, this is going to get a lot scarier for me, because I'm just doing 26%. This is a fully Phys-Def Mew, by the way. But the problem for him is that he actually can't do anything back to me, even with a crit. Like, even if he crits me, his Psychic's not doing enough to me. So this is going to turn into a war, and what we'll notice about the pattern of this is that I'm going to be able to, instead of clicking Sleep Talk while I'm asleep, is burn sleep turns and force him to use some of his moves, which is going to catch me up in this match. In terms of the moves that I use against the Dugtrio and the Mamoswine, it's going to help me catch up and be able to PP solid this Mew, essentially, is what's going to happen. So what the pattern is going to turn into is, while I'm asleep, he's going to double into Venusaur on the turns that I'm asleep so that he doesn't have to use moves with the Mew. And those turns, I'm going to end up clicking Sleep Talk, and I'm going to be able to punish the Venusaur on a very key turn. Just a spoiler for you guys, I do win this game 5-0. There's really nothing past this point that he can do to me. This Cresselia just beats him outright. He has nothing to be able to beat this. He can't deal with it as long as I have rest turns, and he's kind of making a mistake by clicking Psychic at all against me, and for putting me in a position where I can go to sleep. We're going to be able to punish the Dugtrio a little bit later on. I don't know if it's actually here that I'm able to punish the Dugtrio. No, I get the rest roll, and then I think he goes back into Mew. Yeah. Obviously, we see the Dugtrio's Night Slash is doing absolutely nothing. But that's sort of what happens. I'm going to be able to punish the Dugtrio, punish the Venusaur, and then later on, he's going to reveal Genesis Supernova. So he is Munium Z on this Mew, and I believe he doesn't end up killing anything, but I go into my Sableye, I taunt him. He's Mono Psychic, so he can't actually beat Sableye with this Mew at all. And I'm just gonna I took it really quickly at the end. I'll just skip forward until then. We don't need to see all the Calm Mind shenanigans. You see I punished the Dugtrio earlier, and then I'm going to punish the Venusaur in a sec. Not this set, but he's done the damage to me, where I can set up a rest in a second here. I believe here is where I go for the Calm Mind, and then he goes back into Mew on my rest turn, I think? No, I go for the Psyshock here. I'm going to punish him soon. There, I just punished him. So now it's game, and I'm just going to go quickly with the Sableye here. He's actually got absolutely nothing to hit me. I recovered to scout and see maybe what his last move is, but he's going to show Rock Polish the turn that I taunt, and so we're just going to be able to kill this thing with Dark Pulses over and over and over again. So that's game. I'll just go to the end here. We do beat Carnie 5-0. Pretty impressive-ish game for me. We're going to finish the season 4-6, -6. Not horrible, given that I picked up the team with 3 weeks to go and pulled 2 wins against some fairly well-known players. So we ended up going 2-1 +1 in the games that we replaced. I'm not sure what's going on with playoffs yet, but this is a week 9 upload, so I'm just going to get it up. I know Richard is working on some playoff shenanigans, so I'm not sure if we're going to make playoffs or not at this stage. We obviously lost to Halu 4-0, 5-0, 4-0? Something like that. 4-0 or 5-0, I can't remember. And then we beat Carnie 5-0, and we beat Spextar 1-0, so fairly impressive-ish games there down the stretch. The doc hasn't been updated in a really long time, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I wanted to bring you guys the NPL Season 9 Majors. If we don't make playoffs, we don't make playoffs. I'll probably talk about that in a future PTL video or something along those lines. Speaking of PTL, you guys probably would be expecting a PTL upload today as well, alongside my WPL Team Builder, which did go up already. That is sort of on hiatus for a little bit in terms of my schedule, so I'm still waiting to do my Week 11 battle. Actually, my Week 10 stuff maybe should have gone up, right? Or did I already put that up? Because I played Week 10 really early, but did I play Week 10 just before Easter? Because I've been built for a really long time, so I honestly can't remember. My Week 10 stuff is probably up, actually, and I'm just ignoring it. Why don't I just check? That's just easier for everybody. Yeah, but in terms of Week 11, I'm supposed to be playing Ellie. Unfortunately, her mom just passed away, like, I believe today, to my knowledge. and she wanted to play her matches. It's sort of a weird situation, and I'll talk more about that. Yeah, my week 10 stuff for PTL did go up. I might talk more about that later in my PTL season recap, because I have some gripes with sort of how that was dealt with. From the management perspective, I have some gripes with how that whole situation was dealt with. You know, Ellie's actually coming back from originally being disqualified from playoffs, and she had admins play her games while she was taking care of her mom. And she's back, and she's no longer disqualified. So there's some weird stuff going on, but basically I'm going to be playing Ellie at some point. Our match is extended until the end of week 12. It's brutal because Ellie's in the UK and Moki is in the UK, and he's my week 12 opponent, so I'm going to have 2 matches on the weekend most likely because they have a nice 8-hour difference. And so when I get home from work, it's like already after midnight for them, which is just a brutal, absolutely brutal time to play matches. So hopefully I can get those in. For all of you who have seen Avengers Endgame, I swear to God, if you spoil it in the comments, I will block the shit out of you. In fact, I probably just won't look at any of my comments on my videos until after Monday, which is when I'm going to go see it. I might see if I can catch a showtime tonight if there's a spot for one person potentially, but I'm not going to put too much faith in that. That's pretty much all I have to say. You know, I'll keep you guys updated on NPL Majors. I've got WPL playoffs coming up next week for you guys. You guys should see the video coming up next week for my playoff quarterfinals match. My Mount Silver season, for those of you who don't know, is also done. There's had an unfortunate family event go on as well, and so he's FFing week 10 to me. I'm not sure if that puts me back in the playoff race or not. I'm like 4-6 plus 2 or something in Mount Silver to finish out my season there, so I'm not sure if that's going on. Red, now that PTL and WPL are winding down their uploads, I'll probably have the Red uploads start going up. I'm not actually done the season. I'm not quite done the season there yet, but I will get the draft analysis probably uploaded next weekend, I would imagine. I'll probably have Red uploaded for you guys, and I'm sort of running low-ish on leagues at this stage. I'm going to be down to, I think, 2 leagues, depending on what's going on with NPL playoffs, depending on what's going on with Mount Silver playoffs, and depending on how deep I go in PTL playoffs, and if I get a bye into semifinals in PTL playoffs or not. We'll sort of see what's going on there, but I think I'm going to actually end up being down to 2 leagues before AABL starts. That's another thing. I have guaranteed entry into AABL, so keep an eye out for AABL content, because that will be coming. I'm guaranteed back in AABL, and I will have videos coming out for you guys for that. And I've talked long enough. So that's going to be for me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this NPL Majors battle, and I will catch you guys in the future.